Check this out. I thought this was a mistake. I thought I was not reading this correctly. An increase in their taxes of 74.3%, and from 15,000 to 30,000 of 20.6%. Is that correct? Or is that, did you guys make a mistake, or is that
no mistake in the numbers?
The people at the lower income brackets are getting screwed over by a Republican majority that doesn't give a damn about them. You know, I'm somebody that was supposed to not go to college. I ended up working at Subway and Target. I had zero health care. And to me, you would tell somebody in my place, you know what? We're helping you out. Just giving you a little bit. But the billionaires are the ones that make the most money and deserve the most help. That's your logic. But you all want to tout a tax plan that increases taxes on people making under $30,000 a year, the folks that are struggling, and then cutting their Medicaid on top of that. That's the most insulting thing I've ever heard in my life. The next.
The poor white folks always vote against their own interest. And this is not because anybody wants to just pick on anyone, but it is about the statistics. Right from way back in the 16th, 17th century, when the big boys, the elites, they want to change the paradigms in terms of the people who are in charge of power and they want to take over, or they want to change the race. They always use the vulnerable in the society, the poor masses in the society. When they want to take over from a particular race to another race, they go against the people by using the poor ones in their midst, so that the poor ones, they give them the power, and in the long run, those ones will now feel, oh, we are better than these guys. And from there, they are the ones that will perpetuate the agenda. They will carry out the agenda. And that has always been the strategy. It's not new. It has been there. It is a gimmicks that the rich use. Who would have believed that right now, the big boys, the elite, are saying that the richer guys should pay a lower tax, and the guys that are vulnerable, that are doing 2, 3, 4 jobs should pay more tax? Can you make that make sense to me, guys? And guess what? Who are the people they always use to achieve this? The poor folks, the poor ones in the midst, the poor white guy, the poor, black guy, every lower class in the society, in the country, are the ones they use. But guess what? In this story, it is actually the poor white folks in the society that has been used. And those are the ones that voted, and they said they want to make America great. And right now, who are the ones suffering? They are still the ones, because the agenda has been achieved, and you can see the policies that have been rolled out, the Senate. I mean, you can see in the video what has been said. Now it is time for the vulnerable poor people, especially the white folks, to rise up, to get understanding, to get knowledge that it's not because you were loved, but it's because you're being used. Credit belongs to original content creator in this video, and I'll be right back. Let's go check out this video. And if you love this great content, do me a favor, like and subscribe to this channel and make this video go viral, so that people can begin to understand the narratives, the motives, the gimmicks that the elite use against the black, the white, poor, vulnerable people in the society. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
Why, oh why do poor white people vote against themselves time and time again? They vote for Trump and the other MAGA politicians only to have every promise broken, prices go up, social supports evaporate. Here's why. First, remember what I talked about recently, the psychological wage of whiteness. That term was coined by W.E. Du Bois to describe poor white folks being paid with social status rather than decent living conditions. They're convinced by the elites that they're better than black folks, better than immigrants, Latinos, LGBTQ folks. They're convinced that being white puts them in the same league as the elites. Of course, the elites know otherwise, but the poor whites buy it because they're grasping at straws. Second, they are convinced that the people they're supposedly better than are the big threat in their lives. Not the rich, not the corporations or the politicians, but immigrants, black folks, welfare queens, LGBTQ, criminals, the usual scapegoats. Third, the elites promise protection to poor white folks. A politician comes along and says, I'll keep those people in their place, or I'll kick them out, or I'll lock them up. Or, more politely, I'll defend your values. They don't say, I'll make your life better. Well, they say it, they just don't mean it. They'll say, I'll make sure they don't get ahead of you. Fourth, they vote for the punishment, not the policy. When a law gets passed that slashes public housing or school funding or food aid, they think, good, that'll stop those lazy freeloaders. And they do some mental gymnastics that make them believe it's worth losing those things for their own families in order to see those problematic black people and immigrants and so forth being punished. It gets to a point where just seeing those guys being punished is reward enough, which is pretty sick, but that's how behavior works. Their housing, schools, and groceries are on the chopping block too, but they blame that on Biden. Always a scapegoat. They get hit by the same policies they were told would punish the others, and they blame the wrong people. The system fails them, but they've been trained to blame the scapegoats, not the cause, which is the rich people, the people they voted for. So they think the problem is still those people, not the fact that they were personally manipulated by the people they voted for. They're basically saying, I'll take the hit as long as you don't help them, or worse, as long as you hurt them. That is the psychological wage Du Bois was talking about, the trade-off between material security for racial status. And that's a crying shame, folks. One share, like, save, and comment shows that you care about white people taking responsibility for racism in America. This work is important to me, and I want to keep doing it. If you want to support me, consider a donation of any size to coffee.com/Kelly Snyder. And yeah, spelling is important. Get curious.
Hey, I'm seeing a lot of people on this app talking about poor people voting against their own interests, and as someone who grew up in public housing in the United States and went through foster care and all that, I just feel like I have a message for the people who are trying to, kind of not even trying to wrap your heads around this idea, but just repeating this exhausted talking point. Why do poor people vote against their own interests? Oh, and it's kind of in this weird victim blaming kind of way. And I just want to say something that's on my mind and just make it very clear, which is just this. Poverty is traumatizing. Poverty is traumatizing. Poverty is traumatizing. When you're traumatized, you disassociate. Poor people disassociate a lot. Like, how do you get through what reality is like when you can't afford to do your laundry for the week, to pay the $11 or $13 it costs to do a single load of laundry now these days? How do you get through, when you run out of money before the end of the month and you just have no food and you're having to eat like rice for 3 days because literally that's all you have left till the end of the month, a bag of rice? Like, do you expect people who are dealing with poverty to just sit there in the bareness of their material conditions and stare it in the face, and have this full systemic analysis that you often have to go to college to get? Poor people disassociate, and that's okay. And can we just get a little understanding, like less of the finger pointing? Poverty is really hard, and I'm just not seeing anywhere in the mainstream narratives kind of acknowledging that affective experience, except on the right. At the very least, that experience, that affect, of what it is like to be poor is not recoiled away from, you know. And I mean, yeah, as someone who grew up poor and, you know, ended up, you know, kind of bouncing around in educational circles, it's like I keep seeing this weird finger pointing. And when someone points to me, oh look, they voted against their own interests, when someone says that, the thing I think is, wow, that person is that person has never spoken to a poor. Go talk to a poor. I want you to go find 10 poors, you know, 10 people like me, you know, but not like me, because like I'm someone who can code switch, who grew up in public housing, but then went to college and kind of, you know, learned how to present myself or whatever. But like, go and listen. Don't talk at that, but just listen to poor people. Like, that's your homework. Go talk to 10 poor people. If you have made I see a horrible flaw of repeating that awful talking point, you know, oh, they voted against their own interest. I want you to go and listen, go to a laundromat and just start listening to people, okay? Okay, that's your homework.
It seems like every time election season comes around, we're constantly asking the question, why do poor rural white people constantly vote against their self-interest? Most of these communities are poor. They're often victims of the free market. Their jobs are lost to Mexico, and in turn, Mexican workers are oppressed. It's just like, why do these people continue to vote for the people who are constantly contradicting their self-interest? Du Bois wrote about this exact phenomenon in 1935 in Black Reconstruction. Historically, the white working class actually empathized with the slaves. It wasn't everyone, but a lot of them did. Enough for the white elites to consider it a problem. Because if the white working class and the black working class / slave class were to be united, it would be very dangerous for those in power. So they created the position of a slave patrol. By putting these white workers in a position of power over the black slave, it halted that ideology. Part 2.
I live in rural Arkansas. And if you don't understand why people in rural Arkansas or rural America vote Republican, it's because of fear and jealousy. Jealousy that somebody has it better than they do, that they work their asses off, and most of them do. More education, because the education here is at the bottom of the tier. Maternal mortality, low. Education, low. Quality of living, low. Infrastructure, super low. There's no industry. There's no hope for these young kids in rural Arkansas to have a job. We had a chance to vote Chris Jones, an actual rocket scientist like myself who was educated and had a plan to bring jobs and infrastructure to Arkansas. But the people I talked to in rural Arkansas will not vote for him because of his color of his skin. And they weren't nice when they described the color of his skin. So they voted for a sycophant, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who is treating this like her personal money bank. There is no infrastructure here. The roads are shit. You can drive 2 hours. So my closest grocery store, besides Walmart, is 2 hours away. So if I go that 2 hours to go to that grocery store, the roads I have to take are barely have enough room for 2 people to pass each other. There is no cell phone coverage for over an hour and a half of that ride. And there's no hope to get those roads fixed anytime soon because there's no money. I say that, but lo and behold, what did Sarah do as of July of 2025? She has loaned and bought $55 million worth of Israeli bonds. So she's loaned Israel $55 million with a catch to give them $100 more million by the end of the year. When her people are fucking starving, they have no medical care. Hell, most teenage girls here are living at home pregnant with their moms. And they're living at home with their moms and their boyfriends. Because that's how rural America lives. There's nothing for these kids to look forward to. So why would they ever vote Republican? because that's what they're told to do. $150 million would go a long way to feed, get medical attention, and up our so that our children here in Arkansas don't die in infancy and the mothers don't die in childbirth. And that is rural America. Fuck Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She is the worst governor at, okay, she's second. Our neighbor Texas Abbott is worse, but she's a close second.
If you know the narratives and how it is plotted, such that the big boys, the billionaires, right from day one of the campaign, they plotted, they arranged, they planned that they wouldn't survive, they wouldn't win, they wouldn't emerge until they have gotten the support of the poor people in the society. And that's exactly what was done. Who are the people that voted for the regime, for this regime? Who are the people? Can you tell me? The Latinos, the guys that are working on the street, the gardeners, the cleaners, the pickers in the farm, the agricultural guys, the rural people. And that exactly is the strategy that is being used up until now and will be used till tomorrow and forever and forever. When power is about to be handed over from the black to the white, who are the people that the white folks use, the elite that time, that prepared the gimmicks, the arrangement of how they're going to take over power from the black people? Who did they use? It is still the poor white folks, and they gave them power. And of course, they began to use those people against those people that were in power. And of course, there was a rise against them. And this has always been the strategy. Now, look at the policies of this administration. Who are the called MAGAs people? The MAGAs are uneducated poor people who were told that the cost of groceries is going to be cheaper, right? Who are the poor MAGAs? They are the ones that are depending on Medicaid, that believe strongly that, hey, Medicaid, they need it, and that the government is going to make available to them funding so that they can get good medical care. Did they get it? Of course, you know the obvious. Who are the people that primary school funding was affected when this administration also stopped funding? See the poor, vulnerable people in the society. This has always been the strategy, the style of every rich elite in any country all over the world. The time has come, especially the white folks that are vulnerable and poor in the society. They are the ones that has been used. And right now, you can see all over the system, they are regretting. They are saying, if we had known. Let me remind you of the Latinos that say, oh, make America great. Let's vote for Donald Trump and all that. And after a few months, they began to cry. They said, we were used. We were used. And that has always been the story. The elite, the billionaires, the big boys, they have this ideology that, oh, we may not be able to achieve this thing by ourselves. Let's give them a juicy story, a juicy package. And of course, the poor in the society always fall for this. And when they have carried out the agenda, they throw them like a pack of salt, a pack of chewing stick, and a pack of whatever you want to call it. And this video is just to open the eyes of the people to know that the billionaires in the society, the elite, they don't really have your interest at heart. They just want to use you to achieve their aim. If they use you to achieve their aim and you get something that's good, but in the long run, who is suffering Medicaid? Who is suffering farm produce not being available? Who is suffering shortage of meat? Who is suffering inadequate healthcare facilities? Who is suffering low funding? Who is suffering lack of education? It is the poor people. And who are the people that enact this law? The big boys that you were fighting for, that you are you're setting up propagandas for. They all want to make. They are the best guy. They are the best. But at the long run, you abandon. This is to enlighten, educate everyone that cares to listen, that you must rise up to the gimmicks of the elite and know that whatever does not stand for your interest, whatever is not good, look at the greater picture, the bigger picture, not the temporal picture, the greater picture, and you can decode and decipher what the real intention is. I believe the white folks are learning their lessons right now, and the Latinos who voted, and right now, some of them have gone back to their origin. Some of them are without a job. A lot of Americans, the white folks, are suffering. And some of the black folks are fall for it also. they've been sent away from jobs and all of that. And now it is clear tax is multiplied. But for the rich, it is cut down. It is obvious who is affected the most. Guys, let me know what your take and perceptions are concerning this trending story about the elite versus the vulnerables in the society. Until I come your way again, stay in peace, stay in love, and do me a favor, subscribe, like, and share the story. Bye bye.